You're listening to another Geek Pride podcast.
Hi, my name's Kerren. I'm with Geek and Son, and we're here at UK Games Expo. There's plenty of board games, there's plenty of board gamers. That can only mean one thing. It's time for the Geek Pride cast, UK Games Expo special.
Impressive intro from Kerren.
Thank you very much.
One take.
Yeah, that was one take as well.
Fully one take.
One take, just told what to do, and it was done.
He's a natural.
I am. I'm a natural in front of camera. It's just unfortunate I've got a face for radio.
You have a mighty. I'm currently trying to grow my beard.
It's not going too badly. It's not. You've just got.
I can't get this.
Yeah, but you see, the difference is you've got to get a comb for it.
Ah, yes.
A comb. If you've got a comb,
do you have oils and such for your beard?
I do have oils. I have beard shampoo. I have everything.
I think my girlfriend would murder me. She doesn't like the fact that I'm currently growing this at the minute, and it's just not.
Yeah, but I bet you she's got all the different shampoos and everything. So.
Okay, so UK Games Expo for this.
It's rather big, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. This is my first one. This is my first Games Expo. Do you know what? I've been to lots of gaming. I've been to lots of conventions and things like that, but I have never been to just a board game, tabletop game specific one. I was like a child at Christmas walking in here, man.
It's a completely different experience. You go to obviously places like Comic-Con, you go to various different gaming like Insomnia and such, and you've got so many different genres that are going on that people generally kind of stick to their own thing. Here, it's completely open. It's just board games. Doesn't matter what genre it is, whether it's warfare, whether it's miniature, whether it's card games. Everybody just integrates.
It's everything. And I walked in here and went, oh my God, I've already spent a lot of money, as you saw from the big.
I was going to say the best thing. Matt disappeared.
Maybe sort of see these things.
The corner of it just. Matt disappeared for probably about an hour and a half. And he said he was just going to go for a wander. And then all of a sudden I saw him appearing out the corner of my eye with a bag full. And it wasn't a small, overflowing.
Yeah, I had to hold it in my hands.
Yeah, you couldn't use the handles. You had to hold it.
I have a problem. I have a problem.
I don't know. I think it's the opposite of a problem, if I'm honest.
Not for my wallet. It's definitely a problem for my wallet.
But you can, who needs food? Who needs food when you've got games?
I know. Oh, man. Fucking hell. So, we're here at the Geek and Son booth. With the awesome Viking table, if we can sort of semi-see it in the background there.
A flavour of Viking life here at the Geek and Son booth.
A flavour of Viking life at the Geek and Son
booth. But also
booth.
Mixed with a few little technological advancements.
Yes. What was I going to say? I've got I'm looking at the screen. I'm thinking, going, have I pressed the right buttons on there? Yeah. I always get that, and then I'm like, oh,
is that button pressed? Have I done it right?
Is it working? Is it all right?
Who knows?
Who knows? What's happening? But yeah, you've got your new table with the inbuilt screen on.
Yes, the Adam coffee table with a TV inset. Yes, that's definitely getting a little bit of interest.
Obviously, the people who are on Facebook Live at this moment in time, and if you're going to watch this on YouTube, I'll try and intersperse some footage of it on there. But amazing looking table.
For us, it was almost like a proof of product. We've had a lot of people asking for a screen in a table, and it's something that we've had more and more, over the past couple of months. So we decided to go for something like that, which really gives us a chance to test it out on something smaller, to see if we could do it, to see if it was something that people would be interested in. Now we've done it and we can see the interest that people have got in it, we can then move forward and evolve that into potentially having screens in our tables, having touch screens and all that sort of stuff for your DMing needs, really.
Right. Okay, so is there any games have taken your fancy as you walked around here?
Yes, the Dark Souls board game.
When we were have you played it yet?
I haven't played it yet, which is part of the reason why I want to, because I feel like really, really ruining myself with that game.
The miniatures, the game itself is absolutely stunning. Steamforged, they're from just up the road from me. They're based out of Stockport originally. Beautiful minis. The game is literally hot. It is pure balls hard.
Yeah.
It is really, really super hard.
Well, just down from here, there was Thursday when we were setting up, I walked around a corner and they had a giant pyramid of this Dark Souls board game, of just all the different board games and everything, and you could buy it, and I was just so tempted. I'm not sure whether I would appreciate it afterwards when I'm flinging stuff out of the windows in a pure rage.
You will, because
in a pure rage.
You will. I'll try and put some links on the Facebook version of this, or not the Facebook version, the YouTube version of it. We played some live stream of it, and we lost really badly.
Horribly.
Horribly.
It's not
Just
even.
like the
it's
game.
not even a light loss. You don't even go, oh, okay. You go, oh no, what happened? Where did that come from?
So yes. Any other games you've looked at that you thought, great, I'll have a look at this?
I've played a couple of rounds of Defection.
So how does Defection work?
Defection is basically it's like tile flipping game. It's a sci-fi based game, and you essentially, the whole story of the game is that you're coming out of a world that has been torn apart by civil war, and you're essentially trying to get refugees from that into new worlds to help with the worlds. However, you're a bounty hunter, so there are other bounty hunters that are also trying to stop you from doing that. One thing that I really, really loved about it was the fact that it's a very, very easy game to learn. There's a lot of sort of nuances to it, but once you've actually done one turn, that's all you need. As soon as you've done that first turn, you know exactly what's coming.
Right.
The sci-fi theme of it is absolutely fantastic. I mean, a lot of tile-based games these days I've found are very heavy on worker placement and such. Defection doesn't have any of that. There's obviously sort of like little meeples that you've got to move to and from the world, but with the exception of that, it's all based around really doing the story of how it goes, and with the tile flips and everything, it really does build upon that.
Right. Cool. The meeples, where did they come from? They sort of,
I don't know.
They just seem to be a thing, you know.
Meeples, I don't know where it came from. I mean, obviously mini people, but it just all of a sudden became lexicon of board gamers.
Yeah.
Just suddenly, oh, I know, meeples, and then it has been. The name has just grown. Thirsty Meeples is a store. You've got, all that sort of stuff. It's just come out of nowhere, and people have kind of grasped onto it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great, it is a great description for exactly what they are.
Yeah. And people kind of doing this whole thing now where
they were
like,
oh,
oh,
no,
wait, there's a camera in the way. The thing is, you get this all the time.
It's a convention.
But the thing is, obviously we're here within a business area. That's fine.
Exactly.
But I've been like sort of there that people know there's wires and things, and they still walk past it, and it really grinds my gears. I've got a thing for my Grinds My Gears series where it's just like people who actually have zero
awareness.
Yeah, no spatial awareness whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just really, oh my god, it's so annoying.
Or the best is when they get halfway through the shot, realise they're on camera, panic, and then they don't know which way to go.
And then they do this thing.
They kind of do the...
Yeah, this thing is like, that's not working.
That's not working. You're staying in the same place.
Yeah.
All you're doing is just fidgeting.
Yeah.
That's essentially what you're doing, is fidgeting.
This guy.
The same thing we were just talking about.
This guy nearly, this guy nearly got in there. So it's like, oh, there's the camera. Wait, it could be recording over here.
It might be. It might not be.
Do you know who the worst people in the world are?
Oh, I don't know.
Meanderers.
Yes.
Meanderers.
They just wander around. The worst that I find at cons, and this is when you've got, obviously cons, you've got designated walk areas, and I understand that people are going to walk around and they're going to take a look, and if you see something that you fancy, you're going to kind of slow down and, oh, that's nice. It's when you've got the crossways, like the crossings, and people stop smack bang in the middle of the crossings, and they go, and they just sort of look around like that. But it's never one person, it's a group of them.
And you're trying to get past them?
Or they're talking.
Oh, man.
There are tables. Go and use the tables. Don't just sort of sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'll just chat about how my day's gone.
I'm always super conscious when I'm like in a place like this that people behind me can get past. So if I'm on my phone and I'll step to the side.
Step to the side.
Make sure that people are in there. And it just annoys me. It's like you'll be walking down the street and you'll have somebody walking in front of you, and they'll literally just be doing this. But when you're trying to get past them, they seem to be able to feel where you're going.
They know exactly where you're going. You cannot avoid it.
And they meander in front of you.
They meander. It's not. And then the worst is obviously when they see someone they know. They see someone they know, and then they stop, and then you can't get around the other side because that person stood there, and you just
want to grab them and go, get out of my way.
I just kind of want to lift them up, just move. There we go. Thank you very much.
I'm pretty sure you could.
And then just carry on. That's the best way to do it, I feel.
We have a Viking behind us.
We do have a Viking Lord straight back. There we go. Yeah, a Viking Lord behind us.
Lord behind us.
I mean, what would a Viking table be without a Viking Lord?
Yeah, you need some goblets of mead. Actually, you do have goblets there.
We do have goblets.
Unfortunately, because you want to be family friendly, not filled with mead.
No, unfortunately
no,
not. The Viking village does, though.
What?
The Viking village is a Viking village just out there. Quite a funny story. They want to come in and take a picture with all their gear and everything.
Oh, they were here? They were here?
Security won't let them because of their weapons.
Oh, right, shit.
Because they're not LARPers, they're reenactors, so the weapons are obviously
real.
Real.
And they might come in and actually rape and pillage.
Exactly.
And they'll be like, it's all a ruse.
It would be horrific. The funny thing is, there's one. That was a mini one. One of the guys was telling me he was in the hotel, and he actually got stopped for half an hour trying to get through into the Viking village because he had his armor, his weapons, and everything with him.
Thing is, so it's like you'd have to be some sort of crazy idiot to actually decide you're going to go dressed as a Viking and kill a bunch of people with swords.
With swords and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's just like, I understand.
That's an interesting type of crazy.
Yeah, I guess they have to be careful because, you never know what crazy they are.
Especially with what's been going on.
Yeah, you've got the guy, especially there was a guy in MegaCon, I think, who...
he went after David Lee Frank or Jason Lee Frank or whatever his name is.
He had like proper guns and stuff with him. So I understand.
Did you see how many he had with him? It was like knives and guns.
I'm Punisher and stuff.
Yeah, I'm the Punisher.
So I guess if they let a guy in with a bunch of swords and armor and stuff,
they've
and then they go on a rampage.
But at the same time, you'd also kind of use common sense and go, there's a Viking village, he's going to the Viking village, he has all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Probably he's going to be one of the guys.
You could even just maybe escort him. This guy, like, this is what I'm going to do. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Don't stop him for half an hour.
Busy. But yeah. I actually was wondering because I saw a bunch of them. Some of them had some of their armor on.
Yeah, they had the chainmail and everything.
Yeah.
They did have some of that on.
I went to a medieval banquet.
Okay.
And I had it in my head. I was going to wear like armor. I was going to get myself some proper armor. And then I realized when I got into the medieval banquet, I'm so glad I didn't wear any armor.
Nice and warm.
It was super hot, and I was just like, I would have died. Literally died.
I mean, speaking of last weekend, I was at London Comic Con, and the stuff that people were wearing, like last weekend, was so warm, and they were still so dedicated in being in full costume. Like there was one guy the amount of people in fursuits. There was one guy that was wearing. He was essentially a 9-foot tall Darth Vader Space Marine.
Oh, I know that guy. Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
I saw him and I was like, you are a braver man than I.
Yeah.
The funny thing was he didn't have a helmet on, so his head looked really tiny.
Yeah. I know him.
It must have been so warm. How they cope with it, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, when we were in San Diego last year, they always get that thing. It's like,
limbo.
Can we get in front of the camera? No, we were in San Diego Comic Con last year, and it was about 35 degrees.
Quite cool.
Cool. 35 degrees. Not in American sort of temperature,
but our 35.
Proper temperature,
real temperature.
Yeah, really, really hot. And there was people in furries outfits.
Yeah, the fursuits. Yeah,
full sort of like things walking around the sea. I was dying in this t-shirt, man. I couldn't hack it, so it was just
what makes me. The worst part is obviously they're going to be very warm, but could you imagine on the Sunday what that thing smells like?
Yeah.
Can you imagine just the horrible stale smell?
But I was just thinking about this. Yeah, I don't know. I was watching Game of Thrones the other day, and it's like they're in their armor and stuff, and then they go and they're having sexual relations with a lady and stuff. It's like they must stink. They must really stink.
Thrush must be rampant. Thrush must be rampant in the Game of Thrones world.
Man, yeah.
They never show that in the series. They never show it, but it must just be horrific.
Yeah, I just don't think it's realistic unless you're showing Thrush and such.
Yeah. If you're not showing Thrush, I don't want to watch your TV show.
There you go. Something for the prequel series.
Yeah, there we go. The prequel series.
Yeah.
When it comes out,
Thrush.
Let's have Thrush. Game of Thrones series.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it should be called.
Are you looking forward to the new series?
Very much so.
Are you a book reader? Have you read the books?
I've read some of the books. I actually started watching the show before I read the books. I've since been getting through the books.
And they're different. They are.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
are quite different.
They are very, very different. But I'd say that it's one of those. Game of Thrones has almost struck. I mean, obviously you get the purists that will always say the books are better. but one thing that Game of Thrones has definitely really struck is the public's imagination.
Yeah.
You will often find that it's very similar to kind of like The Walking Dead to a degree. You'll find that they will do something that will capture the imagination of the public, that will be something completely different, and hype from the novels will help with that.
Yeah.
But they've been able to capture this magic, and it's made it a much bigger series because of that, I feel.
Yeah, I think I get the impression that he just doesn't care about the books anymore. He's just like, well, they're making it for me.
They're making it for me.
I'm making pure till right now.
He must be raking it in.
And apparently the Winds of Winter, which is the new book,
one,
which was meant to be coming out. It was meant to be out before the new series came out. Isn't coming out till next year because he is spending time doing the series.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
Damn it, Martin, get the book.
I mean, the thing is that one thing that the book came first, which is very obvious. My question is, though, now that the TV series has been so popular, what now becomes the definitive version of Game of Thrones? Do you stick with the original novels, or do you switch it around and do you say that because of the popularity of the TV show and the one that is the most well known, is that the definitive edition?
Oh, Kerren, you are cruising for a reason, son.
Well,
I think people are going to fight you for that.
They're more than welcome to bring it on. I've got a bracelet. I'm fine. It's one of those. That could be one of the reasons why he is. There's another one. That could be.
I think we've how many people? We should count how many people try.
Can you put a timer just like up here, just to count them? Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
It's up here, so everybody he's just about and realizes, we're going to walk in front of the camera now.
But yeah, that could be one of the reasons why he is spending so much time on the TV series as he is. He might consider that now the more definitive edition.
Yeah, and I think with him, when it comes to sort of, I get the impression when he's writing the books, he does them because he wants to do them, and he does them in his own time. Like, It took 6 years between Feast for Crows and Dance for Dragons and stuff. Yeah. And was it 6 years?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It was close to.
Yeah, and basically, I get the impression that.
Ding.
Oh, bing, 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 bing.
But yeah, it is one of those things. I think there's another one. Ding.
Bing.
But that could be, he is doing them for his own. I'm assuming he enjoys writing them.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that he enjoys writing them. So I think
he just doesn't like getting forced into it. Like anybody, wouldn't. I don't like getting forced doing stuff. I enjoy playing games, doing photography, doing Geek Pride stuff. But when somebody forces me to do something, I'm like, I'm not interested. I don't want to do that and stuff.
But I think that is part of it. He's now got to a point where the TV series has overtaken his books now.
Yeah.
So I think he's almost crafting the books as for people who want to read them and for people who really enjoy that, rather than the other side of it where he has to keep evolving the story. The story's already there.
Yeah. He's
got his version to tell. There's the TV series version to tell.
Right.
So again, that's what I'd say is which at this point has become the definitive edition.
Interesting, because you're right, because it is now creating its own story.
Exactly.
Yeah. So. Yeah. True.
It's an interesting one.
It's
a topic that I think would be a very, very good talking point for almost anybody.
Here's a question for you. If you're watching this, listening to this, whatever you're doing, what is now the definitive Game of Thrones? Is it the books? Is it the series?
I mean, argument is obviously for all of them. I mean, the books were there first; they were the original story.
Yeah.
But the next question is obviously, do we have now, with the way the TV series has gone, with the popularity, and it has now overtaken the books, has that superseded it to a degree?
Do you know what really upsets me? Is the fact that I've been a book reader. I read all the books. I hammered them. I read them all, and I basically knew what was going on throughout the series. I could kind of know, even though there was differences, the main plot things were the same.
They were the same. You could see them coming up.
Red wedding, things like that.
Yeah,
all that stuff. I knew that was happening, and I was waiting whenever people were coming in. They're like, "Oh, I really love that Robb Stark," and I'm like, "Do you know? Do you really like him?"
I watched it with. At that point, I hadn't caught up in the books, and I was watching it with my mum and dad, my sister, and her fiance. We always watch Game of Thrones when it comes on. It's kind of like our weekly thing, and we had no idea it was coming up. And after that episode ended, there was just silence. There was nobody said anything, nobody did anything. The only other time I've ever known that to happen is in the newest series of Walking Dead with Negan. Me and my flatmate watched that, and we literally, it was the new series, it was all built up. We're big fans of the comics, and we knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But we sat there, we watched it, and I wasn't expecting it to be as close to the comic books as they made it. And we just didn't say anything.
Okay, all right. Well, I need to go back to the Game of Thrones thing.
Okay.
Because you've talked about Walking Dead. We've had this discussion a few times. We've got another guy. Dude.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
Bing! Another one. We picked the worst place to put.
There's another one.
There's another one. There we go. the worst place.
The best spot.
Yeah. This is amazing. But all right. So we've talked about this a few times. I like The Walking Dead, but I think over time it has become very formulaic. It's basically all you get is a sort of like a super intro.
Yep.
Filler. Mid-season good part, and then something good at the end, and repeat. And it all seems to be find a place, survive, something shit happens,
big bad guy,
And it's annoying me because I think they don't need a lot of the filler, and I don't think they need as many episodes. I think they should sort of reduce it slightly. And maybe have a bit more in each episode.
Well, that's what they've done with Game of Thrones. They've reduced the TV series. I think it's something that they could potentially do with The Walking Dead.
They need to do something with Walking Dead because after the last season, I honestly would have said, I'm out. Bing!
That's fine, Luke. That's fine. No, we're fine. You're going to have to put a counter on. There's going to have to be a counter.
There's going to have to be a counter on this with a noise. But they need to do something with it because after the last season, I watched it. Me and my housemate watched it. Great start. The bit with Negan, and
and it is perfect Negan. And what I liked about it was such a shocking. It was so graphic, and I think it needed to be. Simply because Walking Dead. It's a very, very adult series, very mature. There is gore, there is violence. That was the next level.
Yeah.
But it was needed because it did shock you. If you're going to have someone like Negan come in and do what he did, you can't keep it not as tame, but you can't keep it at the same level as the rest of the season.
They need it. There was a lot of people, and we're going to get another guy in front of the camera.
Oh, there's another one. There's another two. This is a great game.
That's what it is, man.
This is a great game.
It's just like people when they're in that place.
We're just filler for this.
Yeah, they have this thing. There's a camera there. There's people with microphones here. There's no sort of...
Do you know what I think it is?
If I walk between those those things...
Do you know what I think it is?
What?
They're blinded by the majesty that is this stand.
That must be it. That's it.
I think that's going to be it for sure.
That's what it is. Oh, so I have, when I'm in my own world, I'll be like, oh.
Well, you were doing it all afternoon around the
pretty much. I'm not walk through loads of people's things, but there you go.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to be able to track your movements through people's videos and stuff.
But with The Walking Dead, I think they needed to keep it graphic because it just needed to be that way.
Exactly.
The issue I had, I knew sort of having read some of the comic books and read about what happens next and everything.
Yeah.
That last battle should have been at the end, and it felt like they were just doing it so they kind of have wait until next year.
Yeah,
come
exactly.
back again.
Come back and we'll see it.
And I was just like, oh come on, seriously.
I mean, the problem they've got is the story of Negan and how it ends is told so well in the graphic novels that there is, to a degree, I don't want to say filler in the graphic novels because that's not true, but there is some sort of degree of slowness is seeing how they've all integrated into it.
There's a lot of people, like I've read some of them, not many to be honest, but from there's a lot of people who are dead in it.
Exactly.
The baby's dead.
Andrea's
dead.
Andrea's still alive.
Oh, is she?
Andrea is still alive in the comic books, in the graphic novels.
What's her name? The one who was living in the house.
That one.
Carol.
Yes.
Carol.
Yeah.
Carol. Yeah.
Carol in the graphic novels at one point when they're in the prison, actually suggests or tries to get a threesome going between Rick and Laurie and her.
Really?
Yeah. She's like some sort of really sort of weird sex pest. It's quite strange. It is
I
quite
could not
strange.
See that. I'm kind of.
To be honest, they have got Negan spot on.
Yeah.
Jeffrey D. Morgan as Negan is a perfect casting.
Yeah. Do you reckon they'll overuse him? Do you reckon because
they are in danger of doing it, I suppose. I think it is strange that you've got, there we go, bing, there's another one. Anytime you want it, there we go. But yeah, it is. Are they still there? I think they're still there.
No, it's fine. It's okay. We're just gonna have to work with it. We'll work with it.
It'll be fine.
That's it. Like I said, there's like this thing between.
Well, they say don't work with children.
There's a camera and there's 2 people there. There's no sort of thought. There's like, if we walk between.
There is almost
these
like a gap in space-time in this sort of area, and everyone's brains just go.
It's like they're aiming.
Yeah, they're exactly. They're drawn. They're drawn in.
Oh, man,
but yeah, it's one of those. They do have a danger of overusing him. I suppose there is an argument that he's in the graphic novels quite a bit. I mean, even to the point now he's still in the graphic novels. So it is one of those. He's such a popular character that they can run that risk.
See, this is what I think.
It's very similar to Daryl.
Yeah.
Like Daryl in the graphic novels, he doesn't exist.
He doesn't. I was going to say I don't think he exists.
He doesn't exist in the graphic novel, so he is solely for the TV show.
See, this is why I think Game of Thrones and stuff has it right in that it will kill characters off that you like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
oh yeah.
I think
like Joffrey.
And as much as the thing is, everybody hated him, but they loved hating him. He was one of the best sort of.
He wasn't hated because he was rubbish. He was hated because he was meant.
He was so good.
He was meant to be hated.
Yeah, the guy, I can't remember his name.
I'm trying to remember
Irish
his name.
actor.
Yeah.
He was in Batman.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got more people. Are they going to get in front of the camera?
Are we gonna have another one? I think we're good.
No.
There we go.
They're visually aware people.
They're visually aware.
We salute you. So he is in
Gotham.
Gotham, yeah. And he, as a bad guy, he does it so well. But the thing is, he did it so well that people hated him so much that he stopped acting after it.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair though, when you've done as well as he did, where do you go from there? Because if you try and play any other role, you are forever known as the arsehole from Game of Thrones. Yeah. That is exactly how you're going to be known, whether or not you want it to be. That's a danger. It's a danger of something like being as a part of, like, for example, going back to Walking Dead, the guy who plays Carl is never ever going to be known as anything else.
Carl.
He's going to be known as Coral. From The Walking Dead. Same as the guy who played Joffrey. He's going to be known as the arsehole from Game of Thrones. Because they were relatively young when they got the roles. They've played such big roles.
Yeah. And
they've had such exposure because it's so popular.
True. I just think Game of we got a guy. Is he coming?
He's not aware. Stopping. He's checking the leaflet. Checking the leaflet.
Just before he
he's
goes
on the threshold.
Through the camera.
He's on the threshold.
Oh, he's been stopped. He's been stopped by a Geek and Son guy. Oh.
And he's taken away. Look at that. Expert shepherding.
It was.
Expert shepherding. That really was.
It was like, we use him and get him away from the camera as well. But yeah, Walking Dead seriously needs to do something different.
I think it does. I've enjoyed the last series, but I think it is starting to get.
You know what? I know in the comics he's still around, but in a way, I kind of wish they need to sort of get rid of even like Rick or something like that, because it's just getting to the point now where I think with Rick, he had developed so much over the time, and you could see that development, but now he's literally
I think the problem you've got with getting rid of Rick is you are getting rid of your strongest, in my eyes, actor.
Yeah.
You look at the moments that Rick has, he's probably their strongest actor. I mean, all the moments that I really remember from it is, I mean, even with the episodes,
the bit when he was standing in the doorstep with the cards, and
exactly. Or the bit with for example, the bit with Negan when he was telling Rick to cut off.
You didn't get that reference, did you?
No, that one was completely gone.
No,
Love Actually.
Yes.
No, I got it. I was still in Walking Dead mode, and I was like, I remember. Wait, what?
That bit when he's in the car. What episode was that? Yeah. And he's pledging his
love
love to
where
that
he was
zombie?
trying to get really, really in love with Negan. Like. But yeah, it's one of those where he's probably the most powerful moments come from him. Like the scene with Coral where he's like trying to take Negan's telling him to take his hand, you generally you can see that he's having. It's almost like a breakdown. It's a proper way that someone would do it. Very similar with some of the moments when he does again anger featuring Carl when he rips the guy's throat out bites the guy's throat out. It's those moments that feel the most human, that feel the most real in reactions.
Yeah.
And I think if they got rid of him, they'd kind of lose a little bit of that. Unless they found somebody else to take over, that's what they'd lose.
Well, yeah, exactly. But then that gets to that point. It's like, when do you overstay your welcome with a series?
When do you jump the shark?
When exactly?
When do you jump the shark?
Exactly. Like last podcast we did, we talked about series that overstayed their welcome, like X-Files and things like that. They overdid
X-Files.
it, and then when David Duchovny left, it just went down. Community did the same thing.
Yep.
And
I will say there's one series that I believe should have had more series, and I will champion this: Stargate Universe.
Oh, okay.
I absolutely
thought you were going to say Firefly there for a minute. I was just like,
well, Firefly is an interesting one. I absolutely love Firefly. I think it's one of the greatest TV series ever made. But my question is it good because there's only one season?
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? Because if you've done too many of them, it being a bit sort of like,
no, he's noticed.
He's noticed.
He's noticed.
Damn it, we didn't get another ping. Oh well, there we go.
Yeah, again, is it as good and is it revered as it is because there's only one series? There we go.
She made it.
Nearly.
She got it.
Nearly.
She got past. So people being more like, they're like, yep.
I think they're noticing now.
They're noticing. Yeah. Sorry, what were we saying?
But yeah, in regards to Firefly, and the same could be said. I mean, the same could potentially be said for Stargate Universe. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen Stargate Universe.
Yeah.
For me, it was full of fantastic actors. I mean, Robert Carlyle was in it. You know, you had some really, really good actors, some great character moments. And I just think that it's one of those that really sort of, because the viewing figures weren't as high, they immediately shelved it. Whereas I think it deserved to have a little bit more time to develop. I mean, when we've got, TV series such as Supernatural running to like 12 seasons, and I love Supernatural, but that was given, again, time to develop. Stargate Universe was never given that time.
Yeah, true. What about, did you ever watch Battlestar Galactica?
I did, yes.
Yeah. What did you think about the last couple of series on that?
I don't know. I think when it first came, it was a weird one, because when it first came out, it was a little bit out of the blue. Battlestar Galactica was always a very, very popular TV show way back when. Yeah. And they brought it back, and everyone was a bit like, okay, why now? Why does that now come back? But I think it almost went in a wave. It started off people like going, what's going on? Then all of a sudden people going, okay, this is actually quite good. Then you had the dip where suddenly everyone was a Cylon. And it was, I don't know, it was an odd one.
I loved it for the first sort of 2 or 3 series, and then it just went really weird, and like it just went. Yeah. It went sort of like this had this massive like weird god type thing.
It almost became. It almost realised what it was.
Yeah.
Like it realised that people were enjoying it for this, so let's do more of it. Yeah. And it almost folded back in, and it jumped the shark. Yeah, it almost folded back in on itself.
It just the last episode in the last season, I was just like, God. What the fuck was that? That's such a cop out. It was just it was so bad. It's like, we didn't get the Earth, so we'll just call this place Earth.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's all right,
at no point was anybody on that ship going, I have questions. Yeah. I have questions that need answered.
It was just like, I was so disappointed in that. And I hate that when series do that. And I'm worried about Westworld. Did you like Westworld?
I did like Westworld.
Oh,
we've got a ping.
Took him a while. Bing. Bing. But yeah, what did you think about Westworld?
Westworld, I did really enjoy it, but I kind of watched it after the hype died down a little bit.
Okay.
So I had loads of people telling me to watch it, and I eventually watched it, and I did really enjoy it. But I don't know. Anytime I get into that sort of situation, it really I lose a lot of it, because I'm just like, okay, it was good, wasn't as good as everyone was telling me.
What?
I really enjoyed it, but
I loved it.
People were saying it's the second coming of Jesus and it's the greatest thing since Marmite, but it really wasn't.
I was the same with you. I didn't watch it till later on, and I was like, all right, I've got nothing to watch. I'll give it a go. And as soon as I was just like, amazing, and I started picking up on some of the little bits. Yeah. And then I was just like, and then when I watched it back, I was just like, oh my god, I missed that.
Very, very clever TV show. Very clever.
Yeah, and I think
very
I'm a bit worried.
Oh, there's one. Bing! There we go.
Sorry, we're getting a counter in the top.
Yeah, we're getting a counter in the top.
Yeah,
so right. There's a space to go around, so you can go around if you want to.
Our apologies. It's a horrible place to put a camera, but we've done it on purpose.
Speaking of hype and everything, here's a controversial opinion. Ready for hashtag controversial opinion?
Hashtag controversial opinion.
Logan.
Ooh, I loved it. You didn't like it, did you?
No. No. I really enjoyed it.
Right.
Really enjoyed Logan. I came out of the cinema not feeling as hyped as I should have done. Now, whilst it did have a very melancholy ending, because it is obviously the end of Hugh Jackman playing Logan and the end of that kind of story arc. Spoilers. But I don't know. I felt like I should have come out of the cinema feeling more, and I didn't. And I think part of that stems from, and again, spoilers, the end scene where he finally gets killed. Yeah. Felt very anticlimactic to me.
Really?
Yeah, you had it because it built up with him taking that adrenaline, and it was his last fight. You could tell that was coming up, and it was like a western. And he's like going through the forest and he's fighting everybody off, and then he faces up against X-23 and he gets stabbed onto the tree branch. Yeah. And it just felt so sudden. I would have much preferred to have not had him in there, and I'd have much preferred to have had Wolverine slowly but surely slowing down and taking on an entire army, getting slowed down by the bullets, and then as he's killed the last guy, sort of like have the kids looking at him, see him staggering towards and then dropping. That to me would have been much better.
Ooh, that is good.
That to me would have been much better as a last stand.
That is good.
Whereas, I mean, you had the moment with Laura and talking to him while he was impaled on the stump, but I don't know, it just felt very anticlimactic. It didn't feel like a...
I wouldn't say anticlimactic, but I would say I like that idea. I think
that would have been much better. Instead of having... Because that would have been, again, going back to the old Western, instead of having this, Hollywood, they've got to have this big bad guy fight. I'd have much preferred one versus many, and just seeing him slowly but surely, going from this adrenaline-hyped Weapon X, unstoppable killing machine that he was, and just slowly but surely seeing him over the space of like 10 minutes, take more punishment, slow down, the adrenaline's wearing off, he's taking on like 100 different people. I'd much rather have had that, and had like little tidbits of the kids using their powers as well. Yeah. So it's a more complete story, and it's a last stand for him.
Yeah, all right.
It didn't feel like, that's fine, Luke, we're all right.
Bing! He knows as well.
He's the only person that notices afterwards.
But we should get. We do another podcast. I am not on it. It's Mike, Ben, and Callum.
Okay.
And it's called Pitch Please. It's basically the last 2 episodes they've done. The one about Man of Steel 2 and one about an X-Men film. And it's basically they pitch ideas of how they should do another film.
Right.
We need to get you on that.
I'd do that. I would happily do that. I mean, Man of Steel 2. The way to pitch that film is don't.
Yeah. What?
Don't.
Please. I loved Man of Steel. I thought it was really good.
Man of Steel to me has one of the greatest trailers of all time.
Right.
The third trailer with that music swelling up as he starts flying and everything. I would watch that trailer forever. The film itself, it just felt so flat.
Oh, no.
It felt so flat.
When you were talking about that buzz, I got that buzz coming out of that film. My girlfriend at the time was like, oh my God, that's the best thing ever. Because I love Superman, but I was just like...
I got that buzz coming out of Guardians 2.
Guardians 2 was... Did you prefer it over the first one? For me, it was slightly lower. It was on a par, but ever so slightly lower. It was good.
Whenever people ask me, the best way I can describe it is Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is a 16-year-old kid that is finally discovering that about the adult world, and they're in that middle ground between being an adult and still being a kid. They can have fun, but there's still starting to be responsibilities that are in there. Oh, there goes the GM draw. Bing, bing. There's another one. The next Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is that same kid 5 years later.
Right.
You know, a lot more responsibility, but still just as silly.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as well, I think, had much better character moments. The scene with Mantis and Drax,
Yes.
where they're sat down and she touches him and she starts crying because she can feel that. To me, as a fan of the comics who knew what Drax is like and everything and what sort of like sadness he goes through, I think nearly.
We got a hand in there.
But yeah, like that to me was, you know, one of my favourite moments in a Marvel film ever, simply because it was something different. It wasn't explosion. It wasn't like Iron Man firing his chest laser, you know, anything like that. It was just a nice, quiet character moment that you learned more about them.
Drax, I thought was just amusing because
Drax
it was
is
just
amazing.
when he was just like how sick he made him feel and stuff. He was like in the bed. I was
Mantis as well. Mantis was an absolute godsend in that film.
Yeah.
The humour was just, and the delivery as well. The actress was just fantastic.
But see, that's it. I think with Guardians of the Galaxy, it has a good mix between humour and being serious, and it's got it right. Whereas, you know, if in a DC film, if they start throwing in too much humour, you're a bit like,
Suicide Squad.
What did you think of Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad, I enjoyed more than Man of Steel. I'll say that.
What?
I enjoyed more than Man of Steel.
Really?
Yeah, I really did. Obviously the big contentious point with Suicide Squad is Jared Leto as the Joker. I think with the extended scenes, and this is one thing that really bugs me, is whenever people go, "Oh, the extended version's better." So, okay, why didn't they release that?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's
It's
studios.
Batman versus Superman. The
director's cut it's a watchable film.
Yeah.
It's a watchable film then. That film was for me a train wreck. The Batman versus Superman, the theatrical version, it was a bit of a train wreck.
I didn't love it. I wanted to love it. I didn't love it. I thought
wanted to love it.
Ben Affleck as Batman, amazing. I thought he was a really good Batman.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, amazing. I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he's a good Superman.
Yeah,
as
he's a good
film,
Superman.
I don't think they got the right sort of. I don't think they did it right. When the director's cut came out, it made a lot more sense.
It made a lot more sense.
It made a lot more
There's
sense.
some very confusing decisions, such as this decision to have what's his name play Luther.
What's his name from fucking The Social Network?
Yep, I know the exact one you're on about.
And it's going to really annoy me now.
It's going to be drilled right there. Does anyone else know?
There's nobody
I don't
around.
know.
Everybody's been walking in front of the camera all day, and nobody wants to know.
Johnny might know.
Johnny might know.
I'll speak to Johnny.
We'll talk to Johnny.
I go, Johnny. No, Johnny. Just a quick one. You know Batman versus Superman? What was the name?
Jesse Eisenberg.
You know Luther.
Jesse Eisenberg. That's it.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
There you go. You remembered. Jesse
Jesse
Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes.
There we go.
Jesse. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, strange casting choice. Not only a strange casting choice, but a strange choice of how he was portrayed.
Right.
Like that was odd.
Yeah.
The shoehorning, and it was a shoehorning of the rest of the Justice League.
It was just like it was like a trailer within the film for like Justice League.
It was. Out of the blue as well. There is no reason for that scene to be there. There is no, but it's there, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
But again, I think the Suicide Squad, Jared Leto, with the extra scenes with Jared Leto in, he's a much better Joker, much more rounded. I had no problem with him. I think part of that is because I sort of detached him from the Heath Ledger Joker. The Heath Ledger Joker was so popular.
It was,
that they just got hung up on him. And there was no way that Jared Leto was going to get a fair crack at that role. No matter who took that role, nobody would have a fair crack at it. Nobody would.
No, I agree. Right, let me just check the time on here.
No worries, not a problem.
Display. Not bad. We've been standing yabbering for 44 minutes.
That's not too bad.
Yeah,
That's not too bad.
bad.
And I don't even think it's yabbering. I think it's been an intellectual discussion.
It has. It's been an intellectual.
And none of it has been about UK Games Expo.
No, not at all. Just yabber, but that's it, isn't it? That's it. It's just having a bit of banter. I love doing these things because you get finding out other people's views on things.
You get to let loose.
Yeah, and you're just like, I don't understand why you don't believe the same thing as me. And it's just good to hear what people's views on things are and stuff. Have you seen Wonder Woman yet?
I haven't. I really want to.
Yeah,
I really want to.
It seems to be polarizing a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who loved it. I thought it was great. My brother didn't like it that much.
Okay.
And I think it's sort of like
Wonder Woman had the best bit of Batman vs Superman.
The thing is, I'll not spoil anything for you if you haven't seen it. Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is amazing. Everybody's really worried.
Casting.
Yeah, really.
For me, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is the Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark of DC.
Yeah, they've got her, and it's just like she's amazing. Like, in that film, she just does it so well. There's parts in the film where she sort of she starts off quite naive, and then she progresses, and it's like her facial expression, not even the way she talks, her facial expressions and how she sort of reacts to things, how she reacts to things, really works, and it's quite a touching film in parts. There's a few niggles I have with it, but in general, I thought it was really good. Really enjoyed it.
I'm looking forward. Wonder Woman has the best theme. Yeah. That the theme song they made for that is incredible. So like in Batman vs Superman, when she jumps down, blocks Doomsday was another, like, what were they thinking? But when she blocks his beam and the music kicks in, that was the only moment in Batman vs Superman where I kind of sat up and went, fuck yes. That was the only moment that I really went, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted.
Yeah, I think I'd be interested to see. I'm hoping that because Ben Affleck's been getting a lot of grief. Yeah. He always does. I feel bad for him. He always gets a lot of grief, and I think him as Batman, it was an amazing
He's great.
Batman.
He was amazing. The scene in the warehouse, again, Batman. Now that's Batman.
Yeah, that is Batman. He's a more sort of like gritty, down, like really sort of like just power. It's not even like, karate chops. It's just fucking power, pure power.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to fight you like Christian Bale. He's going to punch you in the face repeatedly until you stop. Yeah,
exactly. And I hope the film, the Batman film, and he was meant to direct it, and he's not directing it anymore.
No, he's not directing it, and then there's rewrites.
And I just want it to work so well for him. One, because I think he deserves it, and I think as a Batman, I think it must be quite... What's the word? Draining?
Daunting?
Yeah, or daunting, or draining as an actor if people aren't giving you the chance, because they were giving Batfleck grief before it even saw anything.
Exactly.
And it was just like, oh, it's Ben Affleck. He's going to do it. It's like, give the guy a chance. He hasn't started, and he is, I think, an amazing Batman.
He is amazing, and a great Bruce Wayne as well.
Yes, yeah,
really,
exactly.
really good Bruce Wayne.
And it's sort of like a bit more older, sort of gnarled, completely jaded by everything that's happened. Do you know? Bing. Yes, and it just bing. Oh, we're gonna have to stop soon.
I was gonna say
we're gonna have to stop soon. I think it's just you're getting too popular around here. And
I know
we're just getting in people's ways.
It's a struggle. I don't know how we go.
Okay. Is there anything you want to say before we leave? Then, is there anything you'd like to talk about before we go?
There's one thing that I'd really, really like to talk about, and it's something that's bugged me for a little while.
Okay.
And it's to do. We're at UK Games Expo, so it's to do with board games. And it's Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
So now, obviously, we know Kickstarter has been phenomenal for board games. Exploding Kittens, all that. The money that they raise, it is fantastic. My issue is, bing.
He did it and had a big look at the camera.
I think my issue is like stretch goals.
Okay.
So Rising Sun. I don't know if you're familiar with Rising Sun on Kickstarter.
Yes.
One of their stretch goals was a new faction for the game. For those that don't know, Rising Sun is basically a sort of like a combat / diplomacy simulator almost, based in feudal Japan, and there's different clans.
They're playing it around here somewhere, I think.
I think so. Yeah, I might have seen it.
Yep.
And it does look very, very pretty. But one of the stretch goals was a new faction. And they also had an expansion as one of the stretch goals. Now, my problem from that is, Cool Mini or Not knew that they were going to make money on it. They knew they were going to sell thousands of copies of Rising Sun because it's Eric Lang on board. It's a really good-looking game. They've got experience in this sort of stuff with stuff like Zombicide, Scythe as well. Eric Lang is obviously with Scythe. Now, the game, if they have a new faction, the game must have been balanced around that faction. Because the game was almost complete when they put it on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
They're not all of a sudden going to add a new faction and having to go back and rebalance the game. That, to me, really annoys me.
Okay.
If you're going to have stretch goals, don't hide some of the game behind that. It's very similar to like day one DLC for games.
I hate that. We've moaned about this so many times.
It's the exact same thing. It's day one DLC. The whole you've got a part of the game that you know has been designed, and you've designed it to be part of the game, but you're going to hide it behind so you can get more money.
Yeah.
And I understand it's a business. I understand that you have to make more money from that. But if you are going down that route of having to just like hide it behind goals just to get more money, that to me is just greedy, and it's something that isn't really needed, to be honest.
I don't know. I think it might be production costs and stuff, because obviously it might be a case of they will to basically, if I was to turn around and say we need, they want to make a game.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They say they need £50,000.
Yeah.
If they need that money, so if they don't get the funding, they don't get the money.
A company like Cool Mini or Not, though, are going to get it.
Yeah.
They're going to get it.
Yeah, I can understand. I think with smaller companies, you might do that.
Smaller companies, I can understand.
You want a smaller sort of thing, so you can get at least some of the money.
With a small company, I can understand them doing it. You want to be able to cover your costs.
Yeah.
And you know that if you get to this point, you can add this because your costs are covered.
All right.
Cool Mini or Not as a company don't need to do that. Like, for example, in the first 24 hours, Rising Sun made something like $1.7 million. They don't need to cover costs for stuff like that. They don't need to add one extra faction into their game. You know, the rest of the stretch goals, like upgrading the tokens, adding like extra monsters and stuff like that, I'm fine with, because that doesn't necessarily change the way the game is played. When you're adding a whole new faction, and when you're adding a whole new expansion behind stretch goals, that's a balancing issue that needs to be done right at the start.
Yeah.
So you're going to know about that at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's the same as with day one DLC. You know, for example, if a character is there, day one DLC, you know for a fact that they have been balanced in the game from the start. They must have done, but they've just been hidden behind a paywall.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So that's my little gripe, I will say.
Yeah, I've backed quite a lot of stuff on Kickstarter recently. I backed the game, and I can't even remember the top of my head what the name of it is. It's basically a medieval strategy / resource / war game. It's kind of like diplomacy meets risk meets total war.
Okay,
and it's got 9 players.
Wow.
It's about 400 quid's worth.
Oh, good lord.
It's massive.
I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, I think it's an Italian company. It's called Medieval or something.
Okay.
I can't remember. I'll find out.
I'll have to have a look at that.
But yeah, it's like 400 quid's worth.
Wow.
You get low. It's massive, absolutely massive. And he noticed. Martin gets under it.
Surfing under the bottom. That was smooth. That was smooth.
Okay. On that, I think we're going to leave it.
That is fine.
Yeah, great chat.
I think we did longer than we expected, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I thought we were going to we won't have enough time. We'll go off
and do something. We've still got time. We can potentially do something along those lines, I'm sure.
Yeah, we can do some other bits and bobs. For the time being, though, I have been Matt Geary.
I have been Kerren Lippett with Geek and Son.
And this has been the UK Games Expo.
Final one.
The final ping for the day. This has been the UK Games Expo. This is the Geek Pride cast. Thanks for joining us.
Booth.